Welcome to another episode of the Unpinned Podcast. I am the host, Pinterest manager, and content creator, Fenley, and I can't wait to share everything with you today. So let's get started. Welcome back, everybody. Today's going to be a special episode. So, I want to go ahead and talk about who is on Pinterest. So, lately, I've been getting this question quite a lot, and honestly, it's being asked in different ways, but really, it's pretty similar if you think about it, and it really boils down all to the same answer. So, I do want to dive into who can be on Pinterest or, who can benefit from Pinterest, but I believe that would be the second part to the other popular question that I get. So I'm just going to have to leave it for the next episode because otherwise we're going to be here all day. So, as any business owner knows, one of the most important things to know is your audience. So, if you know who your demographic is, your age range, their interests, and all of that jazz, you're pretty much set on how you're going to market yourself on any platform. So that's what I want to talk about today is who's on Pinterest and why it's so important. I'm going to try and deep dive as much as I can. So here we go. What your audience looks like. So these statistics that I'm about to share with you are available on Pinterest, and it's under their Pinterest business section under the Why Pinterest tab. And honestly, when you're dealing with Pinterest, there is a lot of users out there, especially for a global platform like Pinterest. There are actually over 431 million people who use Pinterest every month to find a range of things. They go there to find ideas, they go there to shop around, they're even there to plan their next project. So, one of the most common things to know about the Pinterest audience is that the majority of your market on there, gender wise, is female. Women actually make up more than 60% of the global audience on Pinterest. This is like worldwide like statistics. So I don't know about you, but that actually says a lot about the platform and how it was being used. So women tend to be the planners, right? So they're the ones that um basically defined how Pinterest was being used before. If anybody who's has ever heard of Pinterest before, for the longest time it was actually used for or as a resource tool for planning things like weddings, house remodelings, party plannings, baby showers, any kind of big life events. That's basically what they were used for, and so on and so forth. However, for the past few years, it seems like males have actually started to make their way onto the statistical boards. And that has been kind of sort of like shifting for what it means for Pinterest on their uses. So now it's being seen as more of a shopping tool and a place to go for future planning for your next projects and so on and so forth. Um, or if you're looking for a transformation, like basically now Pinterest is starting to grow into something that bigger than it was before. Um, Sorry, getting back to the men thing. So men weren't really big on Pinterest before, but as I said, for the past couple of years, they have grown at least 40% each time. So for the past couple of years, Pinterest has been showing an increase of 40% each time for the male gender audience. And I don't mean to make this about genders. I really don't. But when it really comes down to like products or selling something on Pinterest, I do want to make a point here for all the business owners and people who service and provide products. I want them to keep this entire perspective in mind. Okay. So I read an interesting blog by Pinterest. It was a resource that I read, and it was about the male shopper, like they function, how they work, how they shop around, and when they purchase, and how you can actually capture them. So after reading this entire resource, I came to this conclusion about how they made such an interesting point when it comes to males who shop. And then it made me think about how women shop, right? So it was like males versus women. I really don't mean to make this a gender thing, but stick with me, okay? It has it has come to an interesting perspective for me because this is how I translated it. So from the resource. So males are more likely to pay the premium price for things that they want because they don't want to have to continue their search. Once they find something, they're pretty much dead set on what they want and they're firm in their decisions for many reasons. Probably because it satisfies all of their standards or guidelines or whatever it is that they're searching for. Quality, it checks off everything on their list. So they're like, why not pay for the premium to get the stuff that they want? Um, and basically they're gonna purchase whatever it is at whatever cost. As a business owner, it's really great because if you ever notice, once you snag a male client, they will most likely be a repetitive returning customer because they know exactly the brand that produces the things that they like and the results that they get from it if it's one of those kind of products. But if they continue to like the product that they buy, they're going to come back. They're going to be a repetitive customer and they're going to continue to buy from you because you're a brand that they recognize. Their men are really good at sticking with brand recognition. Like they really like to stick to their brands and they hardly ever deviate from it unless something, really extreme happens. So, in my opinion, the sooner you get in front of the male audience, the better off you'll be. So if you can capture a male audience, like you'll be able to at least have some sustainable, repetitive customer clientele. When it comes to women, and I'm a woman myself, so I can totally relate to how this works and why it is the way it is when women shop versus when men shop. So when it comes to women, when they shop around. They really do take their time making their decision. They factor in so many things before choosing a product. And they do this for various reasons because uh it could be anything, because of price, because of the quality, where it's coming from, and even for some women it's important how something is made. Like it really comes down to how something was made, and or if it's vegan or if it was tested on animals. It's just one of those things. And that is the reason why, like, I sit here and I'm just gawking at the fact that why have I never noticed this before? But again, I would have never noticed this if Pinterest didn't mention it. So hats off to Pinterest for recognizing how the market works and how shoppers shop. So, something to keep in mind, especially for what your audience looks like, right? Moving on, because I don't want to keep talking about genders, I want to move on to age range. Now, what I'm about to share with you, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're Pinterest is limited to the age range of the people that are actually on it, okay? I have read some resources on boomers. I have read some resources on zoomers. I mean, there's a wide age range of people that are actually on Pinterest. So don't be discouraged when you hear the statistics I'm about to share with you because it's not just limited to these age ranges. There is a lot more, but this is just kind of to help you get an idea of the kind of audience that you're dealing with, so then you can proceed with your best Pinterest marketing strategy and plan that out and execute it. So in the US, millennial pinners are up 35% each year. So each year it's growing in the millennial age range 35%, okay? And the same thing is happening with Gen Z pinners, who are up 40% each year. So Gen Z are 40% each increase each year. Millennials are 35%. And um, if you want to think about how that affects you, here's a small little tip. So apparently, from what I understand, millennials are very open to planning out things. They're a little more open minded to certain things as opposed to um the Gen Z. The Gen Z, they are more of the people who are to more likely to follow brands and influencers of that kind of sort. Millennials like to try and find the things that they like for their future plannings. Gen Z is just trying to basically, get their get their things together. So they're still trying to figure themselves out, and that's totally okay. But as a business owner, it is very important to know your audience for really well so that way you know how to find and target these people. So if you are selling a certain product that seems to be, maybe interesting, or, it's a new thing on the market and it's a totally new product to try, you're probably going to want to aim for the millennials and below because they're more likely to try out the new product versus boomers. No offense to boomers. I feel like some of the boomers are actually pretty open minded too, but I feel like you are going to have more success by targeting those age ranges. Okay. And you can even niche it down to certain age ranges between the millennials, the Zoomers, and the Gen Zs. Okay. So moving on, there are other interesting facts about the Pinterest audience. So, it has been reported that 45% of the people in the US has a household income of over 100K that are on Pinterest. So, 45% of the people at least, okay, are there to spend money or they have money to spend. So they definitely are there to shop. I mean, a lot of people are there to shop. But at least you know that if you were to jump on Pinterest and you were to try and target your audience, at least you know that at least almost half of the audience is capable of actually shopping or has money to spend. I might have said this before in other episodes or actually in another blog of some sort, but I'm going to say it again because it still stands today. People who are on Pinterest are open minded. So 97% of the top Pinterest searches are unbranded. This basically means that the pinners are really open minded to trying new things. And again, it has everything to do with the age range, right? Because the Zoomers are really open minded to everything because they're still trying to find themselves, they're still trying to identify themselves. With the Gen Z people, they kind of have an idea of who they are, but they are just as open to trying new things because they want to be the first to start the trends, right? And the millennials, well, they're open to trying new things if it has something to do with their future planning or their future products or any kind of uh, future projects they have in mind. So another interesting statistics that I want to share with you is that Pinterest did report that 85% of their pinners say that Pinterest is where they go to start a new project. And it's a really great thing for you because if you ever have a service or an idea for a project, you can share that kind of content with your audience and it will most likely be pin worthy. And then when it comes to Pinterest, another thing to keep in mind is that it's always all about trying the next new thing every user wants to try. So, I mean, why not make it available to them? Um, I've heard that this kind of strategy is actually a really good strategy to add to your marketing, and that's video pins. And they actually show the product or service in action. When you do that, that actually helps the pinners, pique their interest and they're more likely to buy it. There is actually statistics on it that was reported by Pinterest that it is 67% more likely to drive sales. But like I said before, you really do have to be able to showcase the uses for your product or show your product in action or your service or whatever it may be. And it actually does draw people in. So make sure you're doing whatever it is you can to showcase your products. I I do want to close with this in mind, and I hope you will stick with me on this. So people on Pinterest are always looking for their next save. They're always looking for an inspiration or an idea that they want to inspire their next project or discover a new side of themselves that they haven't, had before. So why not be that open gateway for them? Why not be that business that actually, opens the floodgates to a whole new world for them? But it all starts with your pin content. So you need to make sure that you have your pin content in check, and that it's going to be able to show the pinners on there who you are and what you have to offer. Because once you do that, pinners are going to always want to come back, because when you have a save, it's forever. And they'll be able to always refer back to you for whatever it is they need. So, I mean, be a resource, guys. Take the opportunity to be on Pinterest and be a resource. I have a couple of things to say. So one of the things is, if you would like to drop me a message or if you want to ask me a question, feel free. I leave all of my contact info in the description of the each podcast episode. So feel free to send any questions that you may have, and I would be more than happy to address them on here. I am also in the process of doing a Pinterest VIP package, which is going to be coming out soon. And if you are interested, you can go ahead and check out my website at www.justfriendly.com. And, you can look for it under my Pinterest services and it'll be right there. So, I'm about to head on out. So I'm going to sign off and wish you all a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I know you learned something, so share it with others. And if you would like to connect with me through social media, all of my links are in the description below, where you can also sign up for my newsletter. You can even message me with all of your questions. I'm always here if you need me. So until next time, keep pinning.